cool. It should be working. I'm just going to check if it is loud enough to... Yeah, there we go. Alright, cool. It should be working. I'm just going to check if it is loud enough to... Alright, done. Well, I've been waiting for me to grab a proper mic and camera, and now we do. So we'll just start these live streams. Probably going to try and do one every day, just for like an hour or 2 hours, something like that. And the main purpose is like, obviously I can record these in long form and then just chop them up and put them on TikTok. But also it just gives me so much content. Like I can just react to rugby, or we can literally learn about money together, and then I can just repost it. It's a lot easier than if you've ever made TikToks where you're just making like so many short TikToks. It just takes so much time, whereas I can just talk for an hour and a half and then just clip and edit, and it should be good. Cool. All right, so the first one we'll start off just slowly, is actually a lot of rugby on the weekend. I don't really watch rugby as much. I used to. Literally used to all the time. Like, I don't know if you guys have Foxtel IQ, but I used to every day on like a Thursday, I knew that rugby weekend was coming up. Just go and look, search rugby in the bar, then just press record everything, and then make sure by the time I went back to school or something, during the weekend I'd watched every single bit of rugby. And it just helps. So if you're like playing rugby or something, you have to watch film. You literally have to, whatever way you can get things recorded, or now that we got Stan, I don't know what else is there, KO or something. Record every game, watch every game, literally look at who you want to be like. And like I would say a lot of film is a key. If you're not watching games, you're going to be retarded. That's just honest. Like, I don't know how you think. You might be super talented and stuff, but if you're not putting in that extra, if you're not watching those films, yeah, mate, you're not going to go well. Especially when you get into big teams. Like, big teams, bro. I remember when watching film, like, if I was to do that back in my day and just say, like, yeah, watch, bro, was there Super Rugby? So it was, when I was young, there was, like, Super 15. So there would have been, 7 games on? So watch 7 games of rugby in a weekend. Dedicate, how much is that? 67. It's like almost 10 hours, I think, of just film, and just looking at your position the whole time. And back then, that used to be like, it used to be weird if you were growing up. But I guarantee you, if you're not doing that now, you're behind the 8 ball, like, compared to everyone. Everyone's talented now. Everyone's just trying to get a bit one up. So if you're not watching every single game, you're not going to make it, mate. That's my opinion, unless you're some absolute freak, which you're probably not. So watch some film. But I, since stopping rugby, have not watched any film at all. Not one bit. Literally, the only games I watch is when my cousins are playing, which is pretty cool. But otherwise, I actually don't watch rugby anymore. But this is going to make me start, because I can talk a bit about it. I mean, one cap for Tonga, like another one not considered a cap, and then just a few like good high level games. I think I have something to speak on it. I mean, I don't know, probably 99% of other people probably can't speak on it. So, and anyone that has more credentials isn't speaking on it. No one's really doing this. So I'm going to speak on it, mate, and I'm going to tell you what I think Alright, and I don't give a shit if it's. Some of these will be funny. Like I was picking out a 9 to 15 team. I was picking the weirdest people from some weird teams, but to me they were pretty good. So right now we'll just go through some rugby reactions, watch some highlights, and see what it is. What is it? Is it Autumn Nations it's on? I haven't seen this game actually. New Zealand versus Italy first. Oosh, 12 minutes? We're not watching that. Not watching that. We need a better one. We're not spending 12 minutes on a video. There we go, 5 minutes. Let me just share the screen.
Points to 17, but they're going to have to show all sorts just to be competitive against this New Zealand side. Can Italy find it? Goes to ground, should be there and around the corner. Negri goes again, in goes there. And the referee thinking of Ignacio Brex because the temptation must have been, we'll go to the corner.
Split screen it with my face.
He disregarded that.
Yeah, I'll probably split screen it with my face. It's a bit easy. Because this thing's retarded. Penalty. Yeah, nice, mate. Does anyone know why that's on an angle? Yeah, I don't think you really care, to be honest. I'll just go back and I'll look at it. But if you want to see, I don't know if you're a young kicker, if you kick bowls, I think especially because you change your tee enough, like the height and the way you swing and things like that, that's going to affect it. Because like you just got to be really consistent. Your kick has to be almost like every time you kick. I don't know. Maybe we can talk about this, but you literally send messages to those muscles from your brain, and the way you step and stuff. Every time you practice, you strengthen that message, so it gets faster and smoother over time. And if you're changing your tee, if you're one of those guys that change your tee all the time, that's just retarded. Because again, you're just gonna like switch up the best thing about being a kicker is having consistent one. If you know one on the tee and you're like, okay, like he's missing a hit, like in those games, you don't want to miss a hit. You want someone consistent. So again, if you're young, don't change your tee, stick to it. But I think with a lot of low tees, I'm not actually sure if I think getting, I think they turn it either sweet spot or because it's low off the ground, the bigger the swipe, like when you come around the corner, that swipe wrap around the ball. And so if you hit it straight, but your foot like wraps around, like veer off the side. Whereas if you counter for that and it wraps around the side, now you're kind of straightening up the ball. And you'll see that with a lot of kickers that have low T. Barely you see someone with like a low super T, a green one, where they're just holding it straight. It's always going to be opening a sweet spot. Whereas you see someone with like a rugby bricks height one, they're going to, sometimes they'll do that as well just to counteract that swing that everyone naturally has. But usually they're just straight ahead and they just hit the back of the ball. But yeah, if you want to wonder why some people do that and you want to try that out for yourself. Bang. Nice. And then see, started off an angle, now it's straight. Six three. Oh yeah, there we go. Lol. All right, this is what I'm assuming. So obviously this try, let's just look at it now. And you think, okay, he's gone to the backs, boom. Like, yeah, someone's back. Yeah, it's just a simple block play. But what you probably don't see is, if you just saw those highlights, the reason they can do that is just because, I mean, look at the top, just under the New Zealand tab, phase 9. So obviously, the more phases you have, if you're that close to the line, like, if you're Italy, you want to spread the field. All right, from phase 1, you want to spread the field or however you defend. But if you're getting hit, like, I used to have this thing where it was like, okay, we either like go through or go around. That's the space. So if a team's spread all the way across, there's space in between people. If a team's jammed in and they want to protect, like, I don't know, those pick and goes and things like that, there's space around. So you either try and manipulate a team to open up space in between them, where you can go forward, you can get like you can get an easy shoulder and make a quick meter. Every time you make a quick meter, they're retreating, you're on the front foot. Everyone wants front football. Otherwise, you purposely hit the middle to squeeze them in and spaces around the edges, right? Because if you're hitting the middle, they have to squish it. So I'm assuming, I haven't even seen it, but phase 9, they've been pick and going. They're starting to, like, if you dominate them, then they have to start to squeeze in. Now that they've squeezed in, these kind of like just sharp block plays are easy because now there's space on the outside and people have to make decisions. Plus, if you look at this, what is that, 10? 10 and 13? Is that a 13? That can't be a 13. Oh, that 13's huge. Yeah. Don't know. That's about it. Bang. Should I show you what it looks like? Yeah. All right, let me just draw it because we've got time. I'm just going to play with this. But this is what it looks like. Something like this. All right. And so if it's literally spread across like that, you'd probably just want to like hit people just in between these spaces. See, that's so hard to write like that. You probably want to hit in between these spaces. If you're a 10, you see a team that's spread across like that, just like get either a big back or your forwards and just know that you have to go direct. You have to earn like your ground. You can't run around. Too many times, if you see wingers or like just a good connected line, but they are spread across the field, why are you trying to run around them? Or why are you drifting? Like, it's just stupid. You want to start making them squeeze in like this. So then, once you make them squeeze in, need a bit of grabber. Pause. Once you start to squeeze them in, once you start to squeeze these guys in here, now like the space was now they're a bit wider. Oh, shit. There we go. That should be simple. That's basically just forwards tightening up there. Once they're all these tight, look at this. Now you have more space to play around with. Now you've got this guy worried and this guy. And a lot of the time, if you're a 10 and you want an actual weak point in the D line, one thing that is pretty good, or a place to throw people around. I don't know what this is called. I don't know if they teach you this when you're young. Again, this is just, I'm only teaching you what I know. And I can tell you how to get to where I got to, and that's about it. But if you watch rugby league, what do you call it? You got defendants, you got 7, 3, 5, I think. And then you got a second row. I don't know why they do this, but yeah, left side 6, 4, 2. All right, let's just say this. All right, if you're a rugby league guy, you'd probably understand what this is. So third in is, there we go. Let's do this. Number 7. These guys got the ball. And a lot of the time you'll see like, there's number 1, fullback. A lot of the time you'll see this. A block play to this. To play around this guy. The reason you play around this guy is because usually halfbacks are the ones who don't defend the best. So you want to throw your options or like your plays around people who don't know how to defend, or spaces where 2 people don't know how to defend. So that's one thing. So if you see like a shit defender, you'd be like, okay, can I move the team in a way that when I come out, can I hit this guy? Like, can I pick and go knowing it's going to squeeze everyone? Then I'm going to throw my center at the 10. So he makes a bad decision. Because he makes a bad decision, it turns out to be a good one for us. Another thing, so if you want to attack, that's why league people attack the 7 all the time. Because traditionally they're smaller guys. But if you want to attack a space between 2 people, in union especially, I think you can guess. Let's say you got props, like locks and stuff, and then you got like a number 8, and then you got a 10, and a 12, right? The best space to attack is between these 2. Well, not to attack necessarily, but to throw something there. And the reason being is because they're 2 different speeds, right? So you got like a number 8 who usually when he's doing training and stuff, he's training defense lines with like props and locks, and he's getting so used to the speed. And like you always run when you defend as good as your inside. You defend people you're around, right, all the time, but they don't really defend with backs, and you got 2 different speeds. So if you have 2 people that defend differently and have 2 different speeds, then when they come out of the line, that's going to be a disconnect. Sometimes they usually never talk to each other about defense anyway. So why not run some plays at them? So that's a pretty good one. So if you want to squeeze a team, and if you see like a prop next to a back, bro, that's the best space to just like, okay, let's make these two fumble and crumble because they've never defended together or they don't. It's just easy. Two different speeds. Someone's going to make a mistake there. So that's a good spot. That's what I'll do. Before I go into a game, I'd be like, okay, if you're watching film, it's a lot easier. But you want to see where that disconnect is or where those weak points are, and then just like go through them. You can even in business they use I remember I got taught by my mentor, this Wellington guy who's speaking to me about like SWOT analysis, and it comes from business. So you can do this if you're a young rugby player too, going into games. It's pretty easy. Let me do it for you. Okay, it looks like that. It's called SWOT. Yeah, there we go. So for this, you analyze both teams. So not just yourself. In business, you would analyze your business, and then you'd analyze competitors in the marketplace. If you can see, I think Sun Tzu says something about this. Hey, look at this. Look how much we can just intertwine into rugby. Sun Tzu. Share my screen. Who texted me? There we go. Look at this. Look at this. Images. Oh, lol. Clicking on that page. The enemy is if you're not watching film and you're not knowing both the team that you're going up against and yourself, expect to like, just be trash, to be honest. So, any young tens coming up or game players, this is a good thing you need to be aware of. So, this is easy. Like, there's so many different frameworks, but this was one that I was using. You got your strengths, you got your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So obviously, do one on yourself first. Do one on your team. Go through your strengths. What are they? Do we have like? I'll give you an example. We used to have. We didn't have a few teams that I had. We had a big forward. No, I had a small forward pack, mobile, but the strength was like good finishes. That was it. Like, what team? Let me pick a team that I was a part of. Maybe let's say you had a big forward pack, right? And you got fast backs. I guess that's what every team wants. But if your strength was your forward pack, you'd be like, okay, my strength is my forward pack. I know that. So obviously, I'm going to use my forward pack to open up space on the field. Like that's what you want to do. Like if you don't know that your forward pack is your strength, then you might go into games and you might just neglect like your strength. You might get into the heat of the moment and not realize that, hey, are we playing to our strengths or am I just playing the game of rugby? And then I think, oh, like it was just a tough game, but really you just didn't know that your strength was your strength is your forward pack. Weakness. say my is scrum. Our weakness is set piece. Let's say, for example, okay, well, I'm gonna try and keep the ball in play. Like if I'm going up against England or who's a good set piece team, I don't even know. But if you're going up a good set piece team, why would you want to aim to put the ball out and go into set pieces? South Africa maybe they're good. I don't know. But you'd want to avoid like putting yourself in those weak areas, right? And sometimes it's the other opponent's weakness as well. So you might have to. Just depends. But that's just knowing your weakness. You got opportunities. You're like, okay. I think this more so comes with opportunities that arise in the game, and then your threats. So maybe we'll do the other team now. We go through their strengths. Okay, they've got a good set piece, but their weakness is high balls or like broken play. And so it'd be like, okay, because we got like a lot of strong forwards, do we use our forwards somehow to create a game of like chaos where there's a lot of phases, we're keeping the ball in field? Um, that way we're using our strength against their weakness. They don't like to have the ball in play for too long. So we'll use our strength, like things like that. If you know these things before, and then that'd be an opportunity. You can write down that as an opportunity to exploit. Or you got like I said before, where you have the 10 defending against a forward next to a forward. That's an opportunity I wanna test out in the game. Like I need to have things in a game that I'm gonna test out. And then once I test, I know I can get like feedback. With that feedback, I know what to do. And then threats, like you point out threats in the team. You'd be like, okay, I want to make sure it doesn't go in this guy's hand. So how do we defend? Stuff like that. And these are all ways you can just analyze teams. So again, SWOT analysis. If you're a young guy, if you're a young playmaker, you'd probably be 16, 17, 18, 19, something like that. I'm assuming you're in like a rep team. But again, when you're on rep teams, you actually don't even get one-on-one training unless you have a mentor. Like I was lucky to get a mentor. But you don't even get these one-on-one trainings until even when you get into a professional team. Like you're going to get one-on-ones, but how many one-on-ones does that coach actually have for you? So sometimes it's important if you got to even if you're a dad too, teach your son this. If you're a rugby dad, this is actually a good thing for your son that no coach will teach you, because no one's going to put more time in than your dad, or someone that loves you. And so the SWOT analysis, that's pretty good that I used to use. What's another one? Yeah, but even when you get into a pro team, like bro, they're gonna like. It depends if that coach really likes you and he takes a liking to you. Sometimes he will, but a lot of the times, he's got his mind on other things and he can't just. He's just got to work with what he's got. Um, Only if very few coaches will actually take their time to develop you if they really care about you. And you got to know that even what's another good one? If you've got a coach that's on a 1 year term or like he's an interim coach or something, you got to know his motivation too. So his motivation isn't to help you. It is to help you because it makes you better, but a lot of the time his stress is relied on, or his stress is placed on things like team performance and with what I have, what can I do? So he's not going to help you. These are a lot of the things you need to develop, like frameworks like this. A lot of business stuff, a lot of Sun Tzu. Like you can look at these books and things and just relate them back to rugby. So yeah, bro. You can even go into easy one is just go into ChatGPT and just ask maybe how does it analyze teams. You know what I mean? Does that actually work? Let me see. Let's see if that works. Oh, bro, come on. Meme coins. Don't look at that. Nah. I need you to find me maybe venture capitalist self-analysis frameworks that billionaires use to analyze themselves and their competitors in the marketplace. But I need it to use for my rugby team. I'm going to analyze our team and their team to find opportunities and ways to improve in the next game. So find me a framework that translatable to rugby. Yeah, see, look, you literally have SWOT analysis, what I just said. VCs use SWOT to evaluate a startup's position in the market. They identify internal strengths and weaknesses and external opportunities and threats to determine growth potential. Yeah, see, like this is way better than what I was just spewing for like 10 minutes. Porter's 5 forces. Okay, this is interesting. What is this? This framework analyzes industry competitiveness, helping access positions, analyze the competitive forces on the field, rivalry amongst existing teams. That's interesting. I don't know how you could use that. What is the intensity of competition between your team and theirs? Maybe that could have a motivation thing that you could get out of. Oh, actually, maybe it could help you understand what kind of game you're going into. That's probably what it is. Threat of new entrants. What new tactics could the opposition introduce? Yeah, true. I mean, if you understand, like the Sun Tzu thing, if you understand what they're going to do in a game, you can just shut that down easily. Bargaining power of players, how influential are individual players on team and yeah, that's pretty good. Threat of substitutes, okay. Power of coaches, okay. That one's alright. Actually, I do like that one for planning countermeasures because you have to understand that like they're going to look at your team and identify spots. And so the worst, I remember this example. I remember this example they used to have was like dealing with pressure, and pressure comes from inexperience or like you only feel pressure when you don't know what to do in the moment. Like if I've kicked, I remember I kicked this goal, and it was the first time Victoria won against a Sydney team in like a major comp or something like that. It was some Victorian thing like that. The thing was, if you see when I take the kick, like I've done the kick so many times. It was an easy kick. It wasn't even that far, but it's just like literally that was to win on full time. And when you go to kick, like sometimes you kick and you like if you have a good kicker, like you kick and they'll be like this because they know like okay, like is it going in? But then sometimes you have a kicker who's done it so many times that it feels no pressure. It's just the same thing, kicks and does his same steps afterwards and stuff. And then if you see that kick, I'll try and put the video in. I kick and I put my head down and then I go to grab my tee because it's just like any other kick, right? It's not some special kick. It's just like kick, grab my tee, throw it back. As I kick that ball, I go to grab the tee because my brain's thinking like I've put it in myself that this is just another kick. That's the pressure. What pressure? No pressure. But I go to grab it, and then I realize after, I'm like, oh shit, like we won, and then I jump and I celebrate. But a lot of the times you feel the pressure when you don't know what to expect. And how do you know what to expect? Just know everything. So, and have plans. Like I remember when I was dealing with like pressure for rugby, and I was like, okay, I went on a TED talk and I was like, how do you deal with like high pressure situations? The thing is, you have countermeasures. So when you go into the worst position possible, if you have a countermeasure and you just stick to the process, you won't feel pressure. You just know what to do next. So, for example, the TED Talk guy, he was talking about like when he'd lose keys and he went to the airport and then he forgot his keys and he doesn't know where his keys are. And like, it was bad. Like, he's like, where's my keys? I can't find my keys. And you just don't know what to do because you didn't plan in case. So then what he did was he got a hook for the key, and now he knows, like, okay, I'll put my key on the hook. So if I don't have it, it has to be on the hook because that's what I've always done. So it's about, after learning what pressure feels like, put in a countermeasure, because you're not going to skip pressure all the time. You have to feel it. So if you have a shit game, this is what you want to do. What happened when you had that shit game? Like, what did you do? Did you do a certain act when you were running out of the line? Did you try and, I don't know, hit the sweep player? Did you try and come out of the line and be a hero? And you just got cooked and now you got to hiding from your dad? Yeah, you did? Okay, well, this is the countermeasure next time. When that same thing where you feel like you're in space with no one around you, last out of line and it turned out shit. Countermeasure is now, when that happens, I don't get out of line. So now you're running, oh, I'm in this position, I don't get out of line. No pressure. You already know what to do. You fixed it, you put in the countermeasure. So that's why I like Porter's 5 forces, because if you can plan countermeasures based off of what you think they might do to put you in a bad position, you won't feel pressure. If you're like, okay, like I remember one time we were in the grand final and we won. We ended up winning. And I'm pretty sure we were undefeated that season, or we had a really good season. We're playing this team and then we go down to this team and it's 17-12 or something like that, 17-12 or like 17-5, right? So we're down 17-5 and we go into the huddle and I see a few people's heads down, and I was like, I don't want to swear, but I was like, I'll put in a bleep. Should I put in a bleep? Nah. So we go into the huddle and I put my arms around and my dad's looking and I'm looking at everyone. And I'm like, and some of their heads are down. I'm like, boys, what did you expect? Like, this is part of a grand final when you feel moments like this. And it's about getting out of it now. We've felt it now. This is how we get out. You don't put your head down in a hard game. This wasn't going to be easy. We knew it was going to be hard, and this is what we're doing now. So, but if you weren't prepared for that, if you didn't know a grand final was going to be like that, because I lost like 6 grand finals before. Oh, mate. If anyone knows what choking was, that was me. Like, let's not lie. Like, I was pretty bad with it. And I'd been there before, and I'd known like that feeling. So when I knew that at halftime, I was like, boys, this is normal, right? And you try and normalize the position you're in. You can now release pressure and then do what you want. So again, when you feel pressure, just know that now it's time to step up. And if you know that, you're going to have a good game. You just react well. But if you don't know, you're like, oh, what's this pressure? Oh, what's all these things I'm feeling? I'm feeling like it's like the world's closing in. You're going to suck shit. And you're going to go home and everyone's going to tell you, like, you had a good game, but you're going to suck shit. So just know that pressure comes with it. And if you have countermeasures, they help you. Pesley. Political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental. I don't think that's going to work. Maybe. Actually, yeah, that does work. This can be even for coaches too. Like crowd influence and morale. Like if you can up certain players because of the crowd. Like if recently we just had what's it called? We just had my cousin Sione had his game, and his grandma first time coming to watch him play for Scotland in Scotland, right? And so as like it even you don't have to, the coaches won't know, but if you have like he scores a try, he points to his grandma, and it's a pretty cool moment. But what that does is like that's a social influence where now every time the camera goes on the grandma, she's so cool. But every time the crowd goes on the grandma, the crowd just lifts up, and the boys are like, "Yo, like our crowd's going crazy." Like that's why home game is an advantage. That's why in EPL was a Champions League, that when you play at home, you only get 1 point. But if you score a goal and you're the away team, you get 2 because that does play an effect. So sometimes using the crowd and morale, if you're a coach or during the team, especially the marketing team during the week, has to get the crowd involved. Because as a player, man, when you hear that crowd going crazy, it's something else. Like I remember I was playing at Murrayfield, and I heard that cheer so many times. And the reason I heard it so many times is because we got smoked. Like I think it was 70 something or 60 something, but or 50 something. I think it was 50 something. Like every time that crowd was going, like it was just so loud after each try, and you just couldn't hear. Like I just walked back to the group, but that just lifts morale. And if that's a strength you can use or something you analyze going into a game, then like, you'd want to use it. Value change. Yeah, these ones are risk reward. Yeah, see. So as a team, you can use like ChatGPT to get better at rugby or analyze frameworks. Let's go back. Yellow card. Bro, 70 minutes to keep them to 17. That's pretty good. And this one's just, this tries the tree just, let's see what happens. Okay. Okay, so he moves. Give early. Just a good read from the Italy player to stop that. I mean, bro, if he hit flat, look at that. Like that, those are some things where it's like obviously that's so hard close to the line. And if you're, the reason he gave it to him is like look at that. Look at 13. Like there's so much movement in here. That wing is so disconnected. Just Tarvili just rip across, and it's just like flatten up through there. But that's hard. Anyway, just goes dummy score. But yeah, that's a good thing too. If you're 12 or something, like just being aware of when if you're 12, like any position you're in, where you got the ball, just like have certain like countermeasures. Like, okay, if that 13 rushes, then I know this space is going to be open, something like that. All right, nothing kick, nothing's going on. I mean, just good momentum, get it back. The boys are in, get it offload. Nice, Laters, go boy. Yeah, that's good. All right, 76 minutes, 11:24. That's good. Nothing's going on. Kick it. Ciao, bello. Boosh, that was good. No way. I was going to say. No way. No way. That's cooked. Look at that. That's crazy. Goes kick, miss. Ange Capuzzo puts it back in. Chip. Pody. Straight around. See you, buddy. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I don't know what you can take from that. Last minute play, they want to play. Let the boys play. Yeah. Lol. A game. I really like that, to be honest. That was pretty gay for me. Anyway, let's get some tries in, bro. Here we go. Scotland versus Australia. Now, I already know who won. Oof. Right off the kickoff. You know how like I don't know what that's like. That's like I was the worst at restarts, bro. Anyone who knows me, I was pretty bad at restarts. Just because I never practiced it. I remember I used to get people during my junior days because I used to play like different positions. Restarting was sometimes one of my worst nightmares. Hey, it was just like I just didn't practice it at all. That was one thing I didn't practice was restarts. And when you kick that ball and you see it go back, it's like, fuck. I know my dad's shaking his head right now. Like that's what it was like. So yeah, it feels, man. It feels. But it is just it's like a hooker not throwing straight, I guess. Too big, too strong, mate. Too big, too strong. Sorry, buddy. Zip. Like, obviously, not a great tackle at first. And then once, sorry, buddy, get off me. Yeah. Those ones are good. If you got a big running 12, just throw it over the top, bro, straight up. Just like big. Because what it does is there's like a line. That's why sometimes even when you're a 9 at scrum half, like they call zero ball. I remember someone called it 0 degree ball. It's like just straight. Like if you can get someone catching the ball on the advantage line, you can do like you're on the front foot ball. And if you've got a freaking powerhouse running over the top, like now it's just he's already running at speed. It's just like, bro, I'm about to run through both of these guys. So let's too good, mate. And I'm biased as well. Don't give a shit. Bang. What's that happen? Bro. It's those little tip-ons that hold up the line just a bit extra to give space outside. Things like this. Like a lot of the times, sometimes like not because if you're let's say you can see the forward in front of you and you're like fifth defender from the rock, you're kind of like, okay, he's gonna run, my mate's gonna tackle, so I'm gonna swing out already. But if it goes to the fourth man and then he tips on, now you're held up. You were in the mood to swing, but now you can't swing. So everyone else has to work a bit harder. So it's like things like that, flat ball, then tip on. That's what the top teams are doing. That's how you hold up or hold up defenders and give space outside. Things like that. Little things like that. with your forwards. Nice, mate. Oosh, laters. Sorry, buddy. Nah, and then you just got little like freaks like this. It's a good try. It's a good try. There's a lot going on in the middle. Here's straighten up. Hold that defender. He's already beat him. Now that was kind of a good ball. Yeah. And you got like someone like this. Meow, meow, meow. Did you drop that? No. Not straight, mate. The good old look long, give short. Oosh, that's nice. Far out, that's nice. I like that. I like that. You got good wingers that like do extra work during the week. Like no one's going to teach you this. You have to go and speak to. What's this? Look at this, bro. Bang inside. Oh no. Wait, was that off the lineup? I'm going to assume this is already set play. That's why he did that. Because where was Finn Russell in that? Finn Russell gave. Then he kind of chilled. Yeah. Yeah, that's set move. They're probably like that's something. And let's say, boom, and he gets. There has to at least like that's a set play to at least go forward. Then you can just play off the top of that. But that was good. I love that. Especially got big wingers like that. Like have a set move around them, bring them into the game. Because as a winger, the worst. Like every winger knows this. When it takes you ages to get into the game, bro. See this short. Then we're going to switch back. Boom. Play with these forwards. And then, yeah. The worst thing as a winger is not getting into the game quick enough. So whether you're a big winger, like ask your coach, like, is there a move where we can play? Or ask your 10, like, get me into the game quick. Those are some cool things you can do. Like, just have fun, play around with it. Nice. Eesh. I don't think I played with Harry. I think I might have played a Rising game with Harry. I definitely trained with Harry. This guy, bro, he's good, eh? Like, he's a hard worker, and he just finishes. Like, I would definitely choose him a lot of the time. Just those reliable guys. Like, look at that. He's just a good finisher. Not the prettiest, but he's a good finisher. Like, you can't deny that. Nice. Harry Potter too. It's literally like just. I don't want to be one of those guys that say it's a bit of magic, but he's good, bro. He's very good. Nice. I think that's the game. We that's the game. Lions. That's about almost an hour. Let's get into some trending stuff. Bro, I'm like updates in like a. Oh shit. Five coins poised to 100x before the bull run ends. Do we do it, guys? Do we do it? There's only 3,000 people in this group. I think we do it. Battery PC is running low. Alright, let me get the charger. Sometimes when I'm alone, and that's where I find. Alright, guys, let's have a look at Twitter because usually my Twitter is pretty funny. Yeah, you got some guy getting bashed. I don't know why. These are the kind of things we're not going to talk about. If the Holocaust was really a propaganda campaign instead of a historical reality, it would need to be illegal to question. It would need to be illegal to question in Western countries. Yeah, so basically, it's just saying that if it was propaganda, then you'd have to make it illegal to ask certain questions. And so he's saying that that's actually around is why have they been kicked out of 109 countries? What was the main reason this happened in all? All right, let's start as a clean slate. Let's go here. Did they really get kicked out of 109 countries? How many times were the Jews exiled? Like, why isn't my stream keeping up? Because Jewish philosophy relates to the people of Israel as having been exiled 4 times. serious? Oh, that's right. Jewish philosophy relates to the people of Israel having been exiled 4 times. 4 times. Just 4 times? Look at this. You're asking each other how to come up with a comeback. That's jokes. What's a witty comeback to Jews having been kicked out of X number of countries? Nah, this shit's gay. I'm not talking about this. What's a better? Alright, I got a funny one. Here we go. Let's talk about the golden age of Spain. When was the golden age of Spain? 1492. Interesting. Saw the rise of famed figures such as Columbus, Velasquez, Metis. Okay. When was the golden age of Spain? 1492. Oh. When were the Jews expelled from Spain? 1492. Okay, that's interesting. When did the Spanish Golden Age end? 1659. 1659. When did the Jews return to Spain? 1868. Okay, no correlation. Interesting. Oh, yeah. It's another thing. Oh, I've actually got a secret. Don't know if I should share it though. I've got a secret CIA document that talks about like. No, I won't talk about that. Bullrun debunk Islamic common misconceptions. Okay, let's do that. Wait. Something else. The one where we're saying like videos that made me Muslim or something.
Wallahi, if you're a Muslim, you have to hear. I just really need to know before the casket's closed, because I'm not willing. When I was like 12 years old.
That was one thing I always said. Like I always believed and always believed, even when I stopped going to church. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't go to church, but there has to be a creator somehow. There has to be one power or whatever you want to call it, universe, whatever supernatural thing. But there has to be something that is just like there has to be one thing that created it all. Every creation has a creator. You can't say that's not true. Like nothing comes from nothing. Um, like, and if anyone says in science, oh, like except this Big Bang, blah blah blah, it's like okay, you talk about science and you talk about logic, but you know that every creation had a creator. Yet when it comes to that one particular point, you want to say no, don't know. But I always knew that there was one creator, and that was what made. I didn't even know what Muslims believe, to be honest. Never did I believe or like understand what they did. But once I found out, it was just like, okay, it's just one God, just one being. That made sense to me. Just makes more sense. That's actually a good point. When you like people, you adopt beliefs, and then you see the world through your belief system. And a lot of the thing that I looked at, I was like, okay, like I learned about Islam and like the belief system and the values it had and the reasons for such things. And I'd rather adopt something that like makes me feel a lot wholer, better, than adopting my own kind of framework. Some people, I mean, you can do that if you want, if that's up to you, but like everyone adopts a framework, everyone creates a framework, everyone um, looks at the world through a certain lens, whether that's you're a Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, like you look at something and based on how you view, how your framework of like how you understand the world, then you react to it. So let's say like, I don't know, we're told about drinking, right? So let's say I stopped drinking. Well, I did stop drinking, but when the reason I stopped drinking is because I look at the world and through my belief system of Islam, it's told me that it's a bad thing. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't drink. But then someone who's never heard of Islam drinks the alcohol and they don't see it as a bad thing. So it's just, and if that makes them feel good, then that's for them. But Islam for me, everything that it's done, I haven't felt bad from it. Like I don't do the things of Islam. I don't pray. I don't stop eating certain foods and stop drinking. And I feel bad. Like I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like I actually feel better. And that's a weird thing, right? Where some people, they'll drink, they'll do drugs, and then you feel bad after. So it's like, well, why do you want to feel bad? Why don't you just want to feel good? And I'd rather be a slave to Islam than a slave to my own desires I've built up in my head. So that was another reason. That's actually, I didn't know that. That one was interesting. I think this is why I do videos like this, because I'm not a scholar. I'm still learning. Like as Sunny Bill said, um, that it's a marathon. It's not some short sprint. You don't just get here and then say, like, I'm done. I'm a Muslim now. It's like you just you keep learning. You're not perfect, because if you were perfect, you wouldn't be here. That's one of the things I believe. I believe every person on earth, if you're here, there's something you do wrong. Um, and you're just constantly striving to get better, constantly striving to improve. And so my point of videos like this, definitely like what he said, was you reach a certain threshold of faith and then you don't kind of turn back. So like I'd rather be the gateway to the faith, and then now you believe, and then you continue your own journey from there. But things like giving dawa and stuff and like actual like scholar work, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a scholar. So I'm not going to give you all those things. I'm not going to give you verses. I'm not going to tell you to go and do this, do that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I did cross that threshold where I believed enough that I'm going to take it on. And I think the only way I can help someone do that is by just doing deeds, or videos like this, and just being a good example. So when, like, if someone's on the verge and you watch one of my videos and it helps you cross that threshold, that's basically all I'm trying to do. Not interested in debating four wives or, you know, the marriage of Aisha or suicide bombings. Like, that stuff's, if you argue with a fool, like that saying, like, to argue with a fool, now there are two. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play those games. There's no point. Like, what do I get from going and to argue is to not find common ground. Like, to say you're arguing with someone, you're not even doing the right thing. You're not even trying to learn from each other. So these videos are for people who are thinking, who are on the verge. And if you see this, inshallah, you hit that faith threshold he was talking about, and then just go from there. And that's it for today. I think it was almost an hour and a half, but I need to go to training. And we'll do another one tomorrow. Probably come up with better things to watch, but yeah, done. Cheers.